afternoon from wherever you're tuning in. It's your sis Moon Magic, and welcome back to Tea and Tarot, y'all, where we get together every week and vibe with our intuition, pull cards for the collective, and share some updates here, building community with one another. We're back here Thursdays, 5 to 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Next week, we have a special guest, Courtney Chambers, who will be joining us for a talk on thought stacking, habit stacking, and how to habit stack, what that looks like. And it's all about thought hygiene, because I'm all about being able to create and demystify what spirituality is, or the woo-woo, as you know, people like to call it, and making it real for people, everyday people like you and me, who have a million things going on, and no matter your accessibility, class, gender, etc., we all should be able to access these principles, and that's what that talk's going to be all about. So join us here next week, January 15th, for that discussion. Today we're going to be pulling for the collective here and see what the vibes are going into. Now we're in the second week of January, right? And yeah, how are we doing? How's everyone doing? Let me know down below. Drop a comment on the playback, or if you're here in the chat. How's it going? What's the vibes been this week for everybody? Let me know down below. How are we feeling? For myself here, I've been definitely feeling like my butt's been getting kicked into high gear in terms of just like really going back to radical honesty in last week's discussion, having some real radical, honest conversations with myself and those around me about just what this new chapter and era of my journey, personally, creatively, professionally, etc., looks like, and just kind of reevaluating those things. As I mentioned last week, I've been getting to work on a new project with another producer that I'm really excited to share with you all, but I'm just going to continue working on it and wait to share until it gets a little bit closer, until things start coming through. But we have a couple tracks as demos already, and I've been working on some awesome visual surprises for that project as well. So that's been fun and something I've been really enjoying. And continuing to work with some other artists who I'm producing for, and some of their projects are coming to a close and about ready to drop, so I can't wait to share that news with you all as well. And just finished pulling for all the Patreon members. So if you're a member of the Patreon, the highest tier gets a personal individualized reading from myself every month. So if that's something you're interested in, you can definitely check out the Patreon. I do as well one-time readings on my Etsy, and if you DM me, shout out to Cameron Love up in the building. I was just at their show on Tuesday, had me all up in my feelings. Thank you so much for all the good medicine that day. There was so much love in that building. You were blowing me away. But yeah, we're just checking in, seeing how everyone's feeling going into this week. We're going to pull for the collective here. I brought back the Lenormand deck because this deck has been definitely giving me all the tea, and been really appreciating the way that it's adding layers of dimensionality to the readings. We're going to go ahead and start pulling, but before we do, I do have one other update here. Shout out to Shea and Blue Boutique. They actually gifted me one of their perfumes here, and I actually am going to go ahead and unbox it here with y'all. And I said yes to this gift because Shea and Blue, one, I like to smell good. I hope y'all like to smell good. But also Shea and Blue is animal cruelty free, vegan, plant-based ingredients, and unisex, which I think is super awesome. Look at this nice little box. And this is the lilacs and gooseberries scent. So I thought I'd bring it on here and unbox it with y'all, so you can experience it with me and see how this goes. And it really package this. Oh, hold up. Oh, look at this box though. This looks like a tarot card deck. Look. Man, I might actually put one of my tarot decks in here later. This is the perfume bottle. Love the blue color. About to try it right here with y'all live. Ooh, hold up. Ooh, smells like super fresh. It's got like a floral scent, but it isn't too strong, which I really like. I like how it's not super strong. You know, sometimes there's like flower scents, but it's like so strong it's almost burning your nostrils, or you just like, you're like, it smells nice, but I wish it wasn't so extra. This is like just the right amount. I really love this. Ooh. Shout out to Shay and Blue. Thank you so much for gifting me with this perfume, the Lilacs and Gooseberries, their new drop. All right, y'all. If anyone has any updates they want to share, go ahead and drop a comment down below. Let me know what's going on in your world. How's your week been? What's happening? I shared a little bit about my week. Like I said, it's just been mainly super busy and just getting back to work. I start school, student school, because I'm going back to school for audio engineering on the 20th, and school went back into session for a lot of kids in the area, so I've been part-time. I work part-time a lot of times in the schools as well, in the school system. So I got to go back to my old school today. That was really awesome. So it's just been, yeah, super busy for your girl over here. I'm going to go ahead also and drop in the comment here real quick my website information. So if you do want to join the Patreon or look at that, you can go to the website. You'll find it there. The lowest tier is absolutely free. It's just a great way to connect with community and stay kind of connected to everything that's going on in the Moon Magic world without having to, be bombarded by all the social media stuff when you log on. And if you want to donate, as always, I put my Cash App on here as well as my Venmo. No pressure to donate. It's always just very helpful, as I am a full-time artist, and it goes a long way, even $5. And all of that will also be linked down below for the playback, along with the decks that I'm using, and my Amazon shop, which if you check out the Amazon shop, I heard, shout out to Courtney Chambers. I think she just joined the building. I heard from Courtney that even if you don't buy products that are directly on my Amazon shop, if you save it as a bookmark and then you buy other products, just do your regular shopping, part of that goes to me, part of the commissions go to me. So it's a great way to help an independent artist and still buy all your regular stuff. I know we all have to decide what kind of corporations and companies we can cut out and what kind we can't. And I feel like Amazon's kind of like the one that is really hard to get away from because they have such accessibility for folks. And so, you can at least feel good as you're doing all your shopping and support some independent artists. I was just talking about you, Courtney, in our talk we're having next week on thought hygiene and habit stacking. I can't wait for that discussion. Drixie said, I'm still in holidays, finished my Marvel marathon, and I started to hit that Valorant game. Marvel marathon! I love the Marvel series. What Marvel, were you watching some of the TV show series? Are you watching movies? Let me know, because I love Marvel. I'm a Marvel girly all the way. Alright, y'all. I think we're gonna go ahead and get started though, and do our grounding and check in. I got my water here because a girl is dehydrated. So grab your tea, your water, your coffee, whatever you need, and we're gonna go ahead and get started and start by grounding in. I love grounding in first because it really helps me. As I feel like there's no hierarchy in tarot. It's just, knowing the history of the cards and having a relationship with the cards and kind of understanding, the different ways that the energy may present itself. But anyone could, realistically pull tarot, and we're all being affected by the same energies. And so part of grounding in helps me as the reader, despite what kind of chaotic day I might have had. And then also as the person who's receiving the reading, wherever you're coming from, to be able to kind of check in and just that intention and awareness of checking in sometimes is super powerful because we live in such a crazy world, and having the time and putting that intention to just checking in with our bodies and how we feel can do wonders. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. I did bring my little sound bowl with me this time. And if you want to join me, you can close your eyes. I like sometimes to put one hand over my heart or my gut area, whatever feels comfortable for you, relaxing shoulders and sitting crisscross applesauce, laying down, whatever your vibe is. And we're just going to take a deep breath in through the nose. And out through the mouth. Thanking your guides, my guides, and the divine for the space today. Another deep breath in through the nose. And out through the mouth. Asking that these messages come through in exact clarity and come to you in a good way for whatever it is that you need to hear to confirm and affirm your path at this moment. And another deep breath in. Asking for that discernment so that you can discern the messages coming in and know how they apply to the different aspects of your life. Deep breath out. Another deep breath in. Just really grounding into this present moment. Becoming aware of whatever your body might feel, whatever's on your heart today. If that's something you have questions for, would like confirmation for, bringing that to the surface. Or if you're just open to receiving whatever messages come through, having that openness and intention in your heart. Deep breath out. Last deep breath in. Asking that this sacred time be protected from external distractions and be a sacred container for this work and for it to come in a good way. Deep breath out. And I can smell the lilacs and gooseberries. Shout out to Shay and Blue. All right, y'all, we're going to go ahead and dive into this reading. And let's go ahead and see what energies come out. I see Courtney Chambers said, "Hi, Boo. I'm so excited." Me too. It's going to be so much fun. Drixie says, "Prayers for my fellow Americans. It's been crazy out there." That is 100%. I feel like it's been hitting the gas, no brakes for a long time now, to be honest. Just another day in America, KKK, you feel me? Drixie said, "I watched the movies, didn't know you like it too." I love Marvel. Marvel's like, one of the things I actually do love about Marvel, since we're talking about America, is I really love how a lot of the kind of like social commentary at times, not all of the Marvel movies, but a lot of the Marvel movies and series on Disney Plus, like weave those stories and social commentary within their characters' development. And I just really love the way that they use the superheroes and comics to also speak on, things that are really important that are happening in society. All right, y'all, we're going to go ahead and dive in and see what energies are coming through. Definitely big prayers and big love to, just everyone in the U.S. and beyond. There is a lot going on, not just here in the States, but also across the globe. It's definitely one of the things that I love about pulling tarot is being able to learn how to better understand myself, understand the energies, and see what it is, so that I can better learn how to navigate it and know what is within my power, and put that power to action. So thank you for Drixie for bringing that out in the comments. I really appreciate you for being here and for sending your love to all of us. Alrighty, let's go ahead and see what comes out for this week. What is happening? Ooh, we have the Lovers card. All right, y'all, vibe with your intuition. What are you feeling here? We got, look, the Four of Pentacles on the back. If there's any stories, thoughts of anyone in particular that might be coming through, that's definitely important. As a collective reading, the immediate thought that I got from this was about commitments and choices and paths. And I definitely feel like there's a lot of crossroads happening for many of us, whether we're looking at politically, socially, globally, personally, professionally, right? Many of us might experience these kind of crossroads and really coming face to face with the things that we say we're committed to, whether that's who we are politically, who we are socially, who we are personally, who we are as lovers, who we are as friends, who we are as community members. There's this divine orchestration and almost divine reckoning is what I heard, which I don't want to like freak anyone out, but with all of that, you know, I think sometimes certain lessons are hard to learn, and for some folks harder than others. And you know, part of the beauty of tarot and coming here and doing this work is also putting yourself in a position to listen to what those messages are, so that you can clear out your own karma and, you know, work on your own part in the whole. But it definitely was something that I hear coming out as well. Let me know if there's anything that sticks out to you all on this card. Definitely the color red for me, passion. Even the flowers kind of represent, like, I think naivety in a way. Sometimes we're naive to our choices. Sometimes we're naive to knowing how to make a better one. Sometimes we're, you know, love is blind. They say that for a reason. But I love how this angel is kind of like above this couple here. I also like how, like, she's entangled definitely is sticking out to me. Almost like, but it's not like super confined. It's like, seems very playfully entangled almost. All right, let's see what else is coming out for the collective here. Ooh. So again, this could be a direct message for you and your partner. This could also be a direct message, like I said, to like global political choices, but it also could be personal choices and career path. Like if you find yourself at a crossroads with any of those things, definitely take it as it applies there. And I always find with tarot, at least for me personally, that if something matches in one area, typically that energy bleeds into many aspects of our life. So you might find a similar pattern or energy playing out in multiple areas of our life, because again, we're all under the influence of the same energy, and it's all just about how we you know, personally navigate it, and a lot of other things like power and privilege dynamics as well, and becoming aware of it helps us to empower ourselves to better navigate those things. All right, we have the Hangman came out as the supporting card here. I immediately heard like some choices we're not even aware of. This also makes me think of a message that came through for myself this week about how like an impact and intention are also intention and an impact are equally of importance, right? Like, you know, you might think my intention is to, you know, be kind and helpful, right? And maybe that intention is to offer water to a friend, right? But your friend isn't thirsty. So if you're over there like, oh, well, my intention is to give her water, and you keep asking her if she's thirsty, but she's telling you she's not thirsty, but you keep trying to give her water and like trying to put it down, you know, like trying to force the water. It doesn't matter if your intention is good if the impact here is that that person was not thirsty and they didn't need your help and they don't need the water, you know? For some reason that an analogy and thought came up when I saw the Hangman, because the Hangman with this Lover's card and the energy we were talking about prior just reminds me of times where we may not feel like we have control over our choices. But yeah, let me know what you guys see with the Hangman. We'll dive more into it. I'm gonna read some of these comments. Trixie said, thank you for the amazing weekly reading. Always, of course. Thank you so much for being here. And you said the angel has my attention. Me too, right? Like, I hope this means the angels are watching over us, you know? Another thing about the Hangman that's kind of sticking out to me and has been coming up a lot more with the Hangman recently is like the halo around the Hangman's head, as being, you know, when the Hangman, you know, it's the symbol after death, has passed away. It's like that moment of like the release of your ego, the release of yourself, and that sense of enlightenment and I want to say like not burden, the opposite of burden, like that freedom, that liberation, like in death, we are liberated. That seems to be sticking out. I know that sounds kind of morbid, but that's the energy I'm getting off of this card right now. And with commitments and choices, it really makes me think, so not only are there maybe choices that we're not aware of, but maybe there are certain commitments and choices we have to surrender to. And it's also giving me the vibe of like, if you say you're about it, which don't talk about it, be about it. That was the vibe of last week's energy, which I definitely can see that spill over here, right? Like if you say that you're about it, then really surrendering to it, right? Every single day, whatever that is, right? And that could be something like, someone who says that they are, I don't know, it's like imposter syndrome. It's giving me imposter syndrome. Or if there's something that you like say you're about, I'm about peace, but then like every day you're gossiping about other people. Are you really about peace? You know, or someone might say, you know, I'm about helping others, but then when people ask you for help, you can't be found. Are you really about helping others? It's given that kind of energy. And this is not a judgment to anyone. As you all know, I do not, the tarot to me does not pass judgment or intend to pass judgment. We are all human beings. We all make mistakes. We're all part of this energy together. You know, everything I'm saying to y'all, I'm really saying to myself too. Because this is a collective energy. This is an intuitive vibe check. We're all in this together, okay? But it is like a check-in with self of like, how much are we personally about what we say we're about, right? If we say we're about generational wealth building, but you know, you're eating Uber Eats every day, are you about building your generational wealth? Is that really helping your, and of course, accessibility, all the things, there's no judgment, but is there a way you could go around it? And are you doing it because it's the easy option? Or are you doing it because you have to do it, you know? And at times, sometimes we need what is it called? Mental break, or, you know, to have a day off from cooking and all the things, you know what I mean? And again, it's not a judgment to anything. This definitely is however it fits into your situation. And then let's see, Drixie said it's not all white and black. There's a lot of gray. Yes, it's not all black and white. There's a lot of gray in between. It's the nuances, right? And everyone's situation is different. But it's just kind of asking us to really look from a non-BS perspective. Like, cut the crap with yourself. Be honest with yourself. Look at the commitments and choices you're actually making. And are you even conscious and aware of the commitments and choices you're making? One, because that already within itself takes a lot of awareness, intentionality, even privilege, right? To be able to become aware of certain actions that you're taking, to be able to have the education or space to even reflect upon that, right? But then two, after becoming aware of it, asking yourself, okay, well, if I say I'm about this, are these actions that I'm doing actually aligning with that, right? You know, it's like, let's say you wanted to get married, but you're like going out with a man who you know for sure is not trying to marry nobody. Again, no judgment. But, you know, it's just like really saying, let's look at our commitments and choices. And this goes, I think, to every level, right? Because of what is going on globally, socially, politically, personally, professionally, so on and so forth. Whatever it is, so on and so forth. I think that's right. I think that we're being asked with these cards and the energy that's showing up to truly surrender to the commitments and choices that we're making. And to really, you know, going back to last week, don't talk about it, be about it. To really be about whatever it is that we say we're about. Fully giving ourselves into whatever it is, especially when it comes around our beliefs, our principles, our ethics. And sometimes that takes us out of our comfort zone, right? I don't think this dude looked very comfortable. Maybe that's a girl, who knows? Maybe non-binary. I don't think they're comfortable here, okay? They are upside down with one foot tied up to the sky. So it's like sometimes the things we commit to and showing up for them and really being about it is not something that's easy. It's not something that's comfortable. It's not something that doesn't take a certain level of effort and accountability and taking us out of our everyday, whatever that may be, right? But that's how I'm seeing this energy here. If you're getting something different, let me know down below. I feel like everyone's perspective is super important, especially when we do these intuitive vibe sessions. I love seeing what you all see in the cards as well. But that's the energy that I'm getting off of these immediately. Trixie said, like the angel of seeing the real person we are. Ooh, I love that perspective. Like overseeing our commitments and choices from this like third bird's eye view. I love that. All right, let's go ahead and pull some advice then and see what comes through, and then we'll get to our oracle cards. Oh, don't talk about it, be about it. Shout out to Jay Did It. Every time I say don't talk about it, be about it, I think about her and her song. She does Thursday therapies. Check out her podcast, Jamie Jay Did It. That's their Instagram handle, Jay Did It, Thursday therapies. Anyways, I love that the Lovers card just came out, like, reconfirm. Seven of Pentacles. Seven of Pentacles. Wow, yeah. I'm going to hold off and give y'all some opportunities to vibe with this card. But I feel like this was really, really confirming. Let me know what you see in this card. What's standing out to you? Again, dude does not look comfortable. They're not looking like they're having a great day, right? All right, immediately what I got from this, and you all can let me know what you see down below, is when I saw this, is like I immediately thought, like, yeah, it's not going to be comfortable. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be hard work that sometimes comes with no payoff. But it's not about the payoff. It's about doing what you know is right. And it's about doing what you know aligns to the commitments and choices and the person that you say you are. And this card popped back out. Like, hey! Commitments and choices in your face. Which had me cackling, but that's definitely how this energy reads to me. And it's almost like insanity is doing the same thing over and over again as well. So if you find yourself in situations where you feel like you're feeling this, you might be in a situation where you are being asked to go beyond your capacity, or to, be uncomfortable, or to, sit in the hot seat, so to speak, for the greater good, for your own good. Or it could also be, you might be asked to look at the situation and say, doing the same thing over again and not getting different results might be cue that something needs to shift, that these commitments and choices need to shift, whether that be in your relationship, your professional life, so on and so forth, right? And Courtney Chambers says, I love Jamie. She's amazing. Don't talk about it. Be about it. Don't talk about it. Bitch, be about it. Yeah, excuse my language. Yep, that's my girl. Love her. Drixie said, this guy is struggling and very tired. Yes, right? Right. But as an advice card, it seems like, I feel like also this is a really good reminder for those who might feel like they're struggling and they're out alone on an island and like everything's just happening to them, that life is a struggle. And who says, hold on, I want to look something up. Give me a second. I forgot who said this specifically, Man, and I wonder if someone could probably let me know down below. But I believe there's a quote by a revolutionary, and I'm forgetting who it is, that says, you know, we only experience liberation when we die. And that was definitely like the vibe I got from this Hangman reverse. And, you know, I say that too here because at times when we're in this Seven of Pentacles, you know, one, with everything going on globally, right? Like, it's important to not forget that this is a global phenomenon of like exhaustion that I think all of us are feeling. And if you're not feeling it, let me know your secrets. Type them down below. Help a girl out, you know. But I think a lot of us are feeling this global exhaustion. And this idea of like, I don't want to say it's meant to be hard, but like to get real change, it's going to take work, and it's going to make us uncomfortable, and it's going to be exhausting at times. And I don't think that means that every aspect of our life always has to be a struggle, and there isn't, you know, beauty in allowing ourselves rest, relaxation, and joy. But, you know, I think this is very much in the context of like when we're looking at what's happening globally, but also maybe in aspects of our life that we struggle with when it comes to commitments and choices, right? Like maybe it's like a drug addiction or something like that you might be struggling with, and you might feel like the Seven of Pentacles and like, why is it so hard? And I just want to give up. And like, I feel like, you know, it's like those things are, I don't want to say meant to be hard, because I don't know if necessarily know if it's meant to be hard, but I don't think it being hard means that you're doing anything wrong necessarily. It's just, it is what it is. That's the energy that is present. And to know you're not alone in that, and to know that there is strength also within that hard work of like cultivating that communal camaraderie with others, of knowing that your heart and work is in the right place. You know, like, for example, going back to the alcoholism thing, you know, or drug addiction, like if you're going to meetings and you find this community and you know that the work is hard, but you also know it's rewarding, you know, whether it's for your family, and at times you can feel defeated and feel like, you know, there's no way to change who you are. But through that process of continuing to show up, the also really important thing about the Seven of Pentacles is that look at all the pentacles. They ripe as, you know what I mean? They ready to pop. They ready to be eaten, you know? They juicy, okay? And I think that's always a really important part of the Seven of Pentacles is that, you know, the person in the Seven of Pentacles is frustrated because the fruits of their labor have not yet fallen off the tree, so to speak. But if you look at the tree, it's full of these like, you know, ripe, ready to eat pentacles. They just gotta come off the tree, you know? So it's like, your hard work isn't going in vain, whether that's to the collective communal growth, whether that's to your personal growth, whether that's to securing financial positioning for your family, whether that's, you know, working through difficult conversations with your partner, or, you know, things like that. It's like, it is actually going to a work that's worth it. And that's really emphasized in the Seven of Pentacles here. Let's see. Drixie says true. What is that? The melting emoji. That's how I feel. I'm melting, y'all. Courtney says sunk cost bias. What does sunk cost bias mean? Let me know. I don't know what that is, actually. Wait, hold up. Let me Google. Google is your friend. The tendency to keep investing time, money, or effort into a failing project or decision simply because you've already invested heavily in it, when logic suggests abandoning it would be better. Yes, definitely. I feel like, right, with the Seven of Pentacles, there's definitely, and again, because this is a collective reading, and this is also why our discernment's so important when we're pulling cards and when we're doing tarot, whether you're doing it for yourself or whether you're doing it for others, because a lot of the cards can have multiple meanings depending on other cards that show up in the spread, depending on how you're reading the cards, the energy you're feeling personally, your own discernment, etc., etc. And I definitely think for some folks, this is about knowing when to cut your losses and like not put any more energy or work into whatever it is. Like Courtney said, sunk cost biases. Don't continue to invest in it just because you've put so much into it that abandoning it feels too heavy. Sometimes you have to let it go, because if not, you're going to get the same results again and again and again and again, right? It's like maybe you've spent so much of your life identifying as a certain type of person, right? And then you have like an awakening, so to speak, or just a shift in your own personality, and you're realizing that that version of yourself that you've been portraying to others and yourself no longer feels true, but you've been playing that role of that person in your community, for yourself, in your family, et cetera, for so long that you don't know how to abandon it, and that you don't even feel like you can abandon it, right? So definitely fill it out if you're feeling called to look at certain investments that you made, certain choices you made, and realizing that it may never pay off, and to continue to invest in it maybe for nothing, and not necessarily for nothing. I mean, we all grow, we all learn, but it's definitely not to get the result that you want. And then for others, I do feel like this energy is very much saying that the hard work does not go in vain, and that for that other half of the people, that it's also emphasizing that things are hard and things do take work, and things are exhausting, and that's part of the collective mourning and collective work and collective baggage, so to speak, of what's happening in the world, what's happening economically, what's happening in our personal lives, how hard it is to just actually like learn a discipline, learn a skill, sit down and like have fucking, 5 brain cells to like learn something for 15 minutes is so difficult in this day and age compared to how it was before social media, right? It's like there's so many distractions and so much going on. So definitely fill out how this card is resonating for you and what advice you feel like it's telling you. That's super important. Courtney says, we get emotionally entangled because we've already put so much into something when we really should walk away. Yeah. All right, y'all. I'm going to go ahead and pull a Lenormand card, because like I said, these cards have been given so much tea lately. Like, I didn't used to use these cards like at all, and lately it's just been like hecka juicy. So let's see how this relates to what we're talking about today, and see what comes out for the Lenormand deck for our collective reading and intuitive vibe session. Mountain, that definitely giving me 7 of Pentacles vibe already. Look at this, stormy AF. Look at that. Let me know what you see down below. I definitely see lots of storms. Looks gloomy. Looks like how it's been the last couple months here where I'm at, with all the storms and rain and the fog. We've been in the like Tule fog or whatever it's called for hecka long. I mean, it's not as bad now. It was bad for a minute though. There was like a good month straight where it was like 40 degrees every day. It says the Mountain card stands for a blockade, an obstacle, inhibitions, or frustration. Oh, before I continue reading, I did want to say these cards tend to like state a lot of different things. It's very important to use your discernment. Don't try and make something stick that doesn't stick. And if it sounds like completely opposite, it will give you 2 polar opposites in this card. So it's very important to listen to what resonates for you. And then I usually pull out the parts that I feel resonate with the reading. But I just wanted to preface that real quick. The mountain is in the way. Either way you go around it or climb over it, in any case, achieving a goal involves huge difficulties. It is about bringing a situation to a standstill. The mountain is standing correctly, then it worked out. As a time factor, it stands for not now. You could also say it's like running into a brick wall. Stubbornness that hinders progress, lack of insight, something that prevents growth, disability, something is holding back, preferably avoidance of an argument, rethinking and looking for alternatives, accepting the challenge, a deadlock, something you do not want to change under any circumstances. In order to become aware of obstacles and blockages, it is advisable to spend time alone in nature, far away from civilization, thinking about oneself and one's problems without any distractions. Solutions cannot be found in old habits and behaviors that no longer serve you. The city depicted on the card represents our hectic and busy life, which often does not allow us to see the important things. Wow, there's a lot in that. Definitely what stuck out to me right away was about achieving a goal involves huge difficulties. I feel like that really goes with what I was saying about, for some of us, that Seven of Pentacles can represent knowing that like the hard work is part of it and it's not going to be easy. What was the other part that stuck out to me? This part about in order to become aware of obstacles and blockages, it's advisable to spend time alone in nature, away from civilization. This didn't come up in this reading, but I did want to point out that in almost every single one of my readings for my Patreon members, this past week I was working on all of their readings and sending them out to them. The Eight of Cups came up inside their reading, which is all about that kind of energy of taking time away from civilization, so to speak, or others in order to really contemplate the greater questions of life, or to get our priorities straight, or to, try to hear our own intuition, gain clarity. So that definitely stuck out to me here, and could be something that you might be feeling as well, since it did come out for a lot of my Patreon members this past week. And the solutions cannot be found in old habits and behaviors that no longer serve you. I think that definitely aligns with the Seven of Pentacles, that you're doing the same thing over and over again and you're not getting any different results. This is definitely like, okay, time to do something a little different. And the part that we were saying about the hectic and busy life, and how at times we miss out on the important things, or don't even have time and the privilege or ability to even become aware of these things, because so much of our life and our day-to-day can be subconscious, right? You wake up, you get your coffee, you drink your tea, you go to school, you go to shower, you go to work, things that you do on autopilot. Driving, I don't know about if you all have ever had that experience where you're driving somewhere and you're like showing up to the space and you don't even remember where you were the last 10 minutes. Like, you were obviously driving, but you can't tell somebody any details about anything along the road. You're just like spaced out, right? And it's that kind of energy to like be mindful and bring attention to it, because we're being asked to be more mindful and more attentive and more empowered than ever before, because how can we make different choices if we're not aware of the choices that we're making, and not aware of like the programming and the way in which we're made to feel like our choices are not ours, and so on and so forth. It's like my favorite word right now. So on and so forth, y'all. Sorry. Okay. I see Emily Ross in the building. What's up? I'm glad to see you. DCM Society, Rob Sparks. Hello. We have our last Culture Circle happening tonight, 8 to 11 p.m. over at Whiskey Tango's. Come through. It may not be the last Culture Circle, forever, but it's definitely the last Culture Circle for now. So I would love to celebrate this end of an era with you all. If you are free after this, come on down. We're going to be out there doing our thing, open mic with our feature Key. Shout out to SAC Artist Collaboration, SAC 916, who's also celebrating their 3-year anniversary the same day as the official album release party for myself and Madi Bush on January 18th. You can find all that on my website and all them goodies. Drixie said, people around us expect something from us and it's difficult to change. Tell them we're not going to give that anymore. 100%. And sometimes the hardest thing is like not even telling others, which part of it is telling others, and especially if that's your truth, lean into that. But I've also found for myself that sometimes it can just be hard to like tell myself and to like follow it myself, because I think that others are relying on me to show up in this way, when the reality is that I'm projecting that onto myself way more than other people are, which can also happen. It becomes like our own like social conditioning. I was gonna say enslavement, like our own controlling all that kind of stuff. Drixie says the city looks like a cemetery. It does, right? That's kind of creepy. That Mimic says that is my life coming up. Nice. Alrighty, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and pull some oracle cards now to close out. I want to thank you all so much for being here. I'm gonna pull one from just one, not like half the deck, from the Angel Gods and Goddesses deck, and from the Threads of Fate deck, as well as the Moon deck. These decks are linked in my Amazon shop. down below. And if you're watching on the live, you can access that through my YouTube channel. But let's go ahead and start with this one and see what comes out. Ooh, Chile. Come on. One card, please. These cards are feisty today. All right. We're gonna cover that because it's a little explicit. It says Angel of Expression. It says speak your truth and express yourself clearly. So I'm gonna go ahead and read that one. Alrighty. Should I cover this up again? There is something you are not expressing because you fear hurting someone you love or care for. Ooh, I feel like this goes directly to what you were saying, Drixie, about sometimes the hardest thing is telling that person you can no longer show up in that way. And, you know, being afraid of hurting them or being afraid of them being mad at you. Or sometimes they are mad at you because they're so used to having you show up in a certain way. The Angel of Expression has shown up in your reading today to encourage you to speak your truth and express yourself clearly. Know that the truth, when spoken honestly, clearly, and with love, will never truly hurt anyone. Lack of self-expression is soul-destroying for all concerned and prevents life's natural flow. The Angel of Expression understands your fears regarding this issue and is here to help you through this difficult time. Allow her to help you find the courage to face this issue clearly by expressing yourself honestly and clearly. This situation will heal in accordance with the highest good of all concerned. Yet do not try to predetermine or control the outcome. Trust, for the power that made you both will heal you both. I love that. This also made me think as I was reading this card about if, for some of you, this may apply to relationships, this whole energy of commitment and choices. And for some of you, it may be that you're realizing that maybe what you committed to, the rule you've committed to showing up in a relationship isn't working for you anymore. So perhaps, you know, that could be like in a romantic relationship where, you know, you're doing all the cooking and cleaning and, you know, whenever the person needs you, you're just like on their beck and call. Is that what it's called? And you're just like showing up for them in this way and you're realizing how disempowering that's been for you. And trying to set up boundaries of being like, yo, I'm not going to just be there every single time you call and you're not there for me when I need you. Or I'm not going to, you know, do all the cooking and the cleaning and, you know, you're just going to sit back and watch TV while I'm working hard doing the cooking and cleaning. Whatever it might be, right? But for some of you, this definitely might apply to relationships and realizing that some boundaries need to come into place or some reworking of your relationship dynamic because currently it's not working anymore. And what once you were okay with and maybe even like threw yourself under the bus for or just like allowed to exist and was happy to help or to please in that way, you're realizing doesn't work for you anymore and has actually been a detriment maybe to your well-being. Or, you know, you've just evolved into someone who no longer can keep up with that persona or way of existing in the relationship. And that's causing the dynamic to shift. Which, you know, doesn't mean anything bad about either person, but definitely can be tricky when you are in a relationship with someone, you've been in a relationship with someone, you've already kind of established these relationship norms, and you're realizing that the norms that were established, maybe you didn't feel empowered to speak up about at the time, or like I said, maybe something just shift in you, and you're a different person. When you're with somebody, you don't stop changing and evolving as a person. You continue growing and naturally will have things about yourself you no longer do or no longer desire throughout the years. It's all about how you navigate those things. So for those who this does apply to relationships, that could be one way you might see it coming up in your relationships. Alrighty, let's go ahead and do Threads of Fate, see what comes out here. And I have to say also, it doesn't mean just romantic relationships. It could be friendships, you know, etc. You could be that friend who's always available, who's always, you know, just like there, doesn't ever tell anyone about anything they need, and you're realizing, man, this is not the role that is something that's sustainable for me anymore, and shifting the way you show up in friendships and community. So definitely take it as it resonates. All right, Threads of Fate. What you got for us? Movement. Okay. Look, a little snake right there. Which I think I mentioned last week that we're coming up on the end of the year of the snake. So get your last Kundalini's in. Sorry, I'm being silly. All right, movements. Let's see what it says. Okay. Physical movement can quick start major shifts in our internal and external worlds. While this movement can take any form, keep in mind that the type of movement we do can invite in the emotions and experiences associated with it. Intense and vigorous movement can help us access our motivation, power, and fire. Slow and methodical movements can help us tap into our deeper feelings and is especially helpful in releasing, healing, and deeper work. When we move our bodies, we are allowing any stuck or stagnant energies within us to flow, bringing space for the new. What type of movement do you need, and how can you incorporate it into your day more? Love that. So that might be something if you're feeling called to journal around after this live. What type of movement do you need? How can you incorporate it into your day more? And if you're watching this on the playback, you could pause the video and sit with those questions if you're feeling called. This is an invitation to do that. And definitely, I think in general, we might all be experiencing a lot of movement happening, whether your schedule is getting more busy or you're finding yourself called to just get up and do things a little bit differently. I definitely think that's tied into that energy there. All right, last card here is from the moon deck. I finally found my moon deck, y'all. I had lost my moon deck and it was like wedged underneath my bed, far in the back of my, by my windowsill, and I couldn't figure out where I had put it. And I take this deck with me a lot to shows, and it's been the Oracle deck I've had the longest, actually, and one of my favorite decks. So I just thought I had it in a merch bag somewhere, and I have no idea where it went, but it's back here, y'all. Shout out to the moon deck. All right, let's go ahead and see what comes through from our moon deck today. Last message, something affirming for our hearts, mind, body, soul. What do we need to hear? I honor the natural process of growth and transformation. Yes. I love that. This is definitely a hangman energy type of card. You can see a little butterfly moth coming out of its cocoon. And the hangman has a lot of connection to the symbolism of a butterfly or a moth and that cocoon that the butterfly makes, the caterpillar makes. They go into this cocoon willingly. They surrender to that process. That's a part of their life cycle. And literally inside the cocoon, they eat themselves alive, which sounds horribly painful. And inside that liquid goo of whatever they become this beautiful butterfly. And I think there's so much we can learn from butterflies and moths and their willingness, whether it's subconscious or conscious, to go into that cocoon and hang upside down in the elements where a bird could eat you at any moment and eat themselves alive to have the hope of becoming this beautiful liberated flying butterfly, which even the fact that they don't stay spend that much time as butterflies, I think from my understanding that's the stage in their life that they are the least amount of time. So, they go through all this struggle for so much of their life, only for these few moments of being a butterfly. They're like a butterfly for a couple weeks, and that's the end of their life cycle. But y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. But I just think there's so much beautiful symbolism and so much we can learn from the wisdom of the butterflies and the moths around us. But I'm going to go ahead and read that. That's number 40, if that means anything to you, which reduces to 4. And it says transform. From the moment we leave the womb, we journey through many life cycles and transform along the way. Growth is a natural process and change is inevitable. You're going through a metamorphosis and expanding with increasing beauty. Honor your growth and allow a joyful lightness to enter your journey. The butterfly has arrived as a symbol of grace, joy, flight, and transformation. She's a messenger fluttering about with alluring lightness and expressive color. From a slow-moving caterpillar to a tightly wound cocoon, into an exquisite butterfly in the sky, she does not deny the natural process of her evolution. It's what makes her so incredibly special. Butterfly is here to remind you that you're right on track to becoming an expression of your highest self. Have patience with your process. Yes, that's right, that's right, that's right. Again, I want to thank you all so much for being here. Just check in the comments, make sure I didn't miss anything. If you are here watching this on the playback or the live, I highly encourage you all to go check out Courtney Chambers' page and get a little sneak preview of who our guest is going to be next week. It's Courtney, COURTNEY, period, underscore, period, Chambers, CHAMBERS. And looking forward to that conversation next week on thought hygiene and habit stacking. Aside from that, I want to thank your guides, my guides, and the Divine for the space today. Thank you again so much for being here. And if you're interested in any of the offerings I have, definitely check out www.moonmagicflows.com. But until next time, I will see you all later and have a wonderful week.